from a young age I started dancing, so dancing was a really prominent part of my life. I thought that was my dreams to become a professional dancer. And when I turned like 14, 15, I started to get interested in boys, and my mum was going crazy because she wanted me to stay on the track of dancing, and I met this lad, and turns out that the lad that I met was having his own problems. I don't know whatever the problems were at the time, but I've learned to forgive them now, but he was very violent, and being so young, I was 16 coming on 17 at the time, I was really confused about what was right and what was wrong in terms of what you should put up with. I hadn't been in a proper relationship before, so it got worse and worse, and then eventually I fell pregnant, which I was kind of, in some points, was scared about, but in some points positive about, because I thought it would improve after that, but it didn't improve after that. And I found myself in a situation of making a choice whether to stay and deal with it, or to... I think is that there wasn't any way of getting out of it at the time. I thought of everything, and there wasn't any way of... There wasn't an escape because I was young, and there's no way that I could have done anything. I was only 17.
Okay, were you still living at home then?
No, I was with my partner, and I didn't have any contact with my parents really by this point. I'd cut off, my friendships were all gone, and so there wasn't really a way out.
No.
So I kind of gave up, but it got to a point where I had to make a decision for the baby and for my partner, because at the end of the day he was in a place that wasn't normal. He wasn't doing it just for the fun of it. It was obviously something wrong there, so I knew that there wasn't any compromising or talking about it, so I had to get myself out of the situation. So I just had to leave.
Okay. And so obviously that happened, and you're based in Cornwall now, is that right? And as I say, what do you do now? It
wasn't plain sailing from there, because of course I left there thinking everything would be great, but I found myself in a just as bad predicament, because I was moved by the Women's Aid, thankfully, and I chose to go. I just said, just send me somewhere that's miles away without thinking anything through, and they put me, as you know, when you go into a new area, you're not on the high priority list to go into a privileged area, so I was put into an area that was quite bad for crime, and so I was put into an area that, I had some lovely, lovely friends there, but it was the place that I stayed had a lot of drugs, a lot of robbery, so we got robbed a lot.
And how did you feel as a mother with a young child?
Well, I saw myself as a victim then, because then I was like, woe is me, all this stuff's happened to me, and now this is happening to me. So I started drinking. I drank a lot when I clubbed a lot. That was my way of dealing with it. I didn't deal with it very well. I never got counselling. I just spent my time at the weekends going out. And then finally I was at a nightclub once, and a DJ approached me and said, I can see you're a great dancer, would you come and dance for us at a nightclub? So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I ended up dancing for him on tour, and then he asked me to choreograph a show for him, and it went on to win Best Dance Show. But then I was still kind of involved in the club scene quite a lot, and looking back, I wasn't proud of kind of my lifestyle then, because it was just looking forward to the weekends. I was a mum during the week as best I could be, but I wasn't settled. I was really confused and really unsettled, and it wasn't until my mum said, you have to get out of there, you have to move yourself away from that situation, and that's when I moved away and started afresh again. I just left everything and just started afresh, because I knew that I wasn't myself. I still hadn't found my purpose or what I was supposed to do, so that's when I moved away.
Were there sort of any points, or like sort of while you were there, that sort of friends tried to link you, or there were opportunities with other charities to sort of maybe change your life or get out of, or there wasn't really, you were sort of so into the friendship groups when you were there and clubbing, and I just always kept feeling sorry for myself. And I used to have a lot of bad nightmares, and a lot of I was moved quite a lot, because I used to freak out sometimes. They'd move me, and I wasn't facing up to it. So I think moving away from everyone that I knew, and starting completely afresh in a place where I knew nobody, gave me the opportunity to almost wipe my canvas clean and find who I was originally. So obviously you'd moved then to the area you just spoke to us about, and then you've moved then now sort of down to Cornwall. But what's different? Because why have you not? Did you not get back into clubbing or back into that? What would change now that you moved to where you are? A switch switched on for me, because I knew that I was a really ambitious person. Because I know when I come out of school, I was given a job straight away for a shipping company, and I was quite entrepreneurial all the time. Even when I was a little girl, I was taking leaflets from shops and pretending to hand them out. I always had that in me. So I knew when
I knew there was something bigger and better for me, and I really cared about my son was my main inspiration and priority.
Yeah, brilliant.
I thought he isn't going to be anywhere. I'm no role model for him. I wanted to be a really good role model for him. So when I moved to Cornwall, I thought I'm not going to dance. I'm just going to get a job in a pub, and I'm going to just be a mum. That's all I wanted to be.
Excellent.
And I did that. I went and got a job in a pub
in
a village.
Yeah, excellent.
And then my son's headmaster said, "Can you come and? We've heard you're a dancer. Will you come and teach some classes for us?"
Okay.
And that's what I did. I started doing some.
And how did you feel about that after perhaps not done that for a long time?
It was amazing, actually.
You were quite confident.
Because dance has always been a place for me that was safe and somewhere that was my own and allowed me to express myself. So I was really grateful for finding that again.
Yeah. And
so
then,
I started teaching there.
Great.
And I taught there. The class really built up really quickly because there wasn't really anything in that area.
Okay.
You know, there was a lot of traditional dance schools, but there wasn't really anything at the time that was doing anything quite like what I was doing. So it became quite popular. I think, I say popular, for me it was quite good. I was like 25 kids. That was like amazing for me.
Yeah.
And then they said to me, or Kyle said, my son said to me, can we enter this competition that's on TV? So we put something together. I mean, we were really inexperienced. We didn't really know. We had like one hip hop routine.
Okay.
That we did. We went on and it just blew up. We went on to the show and we were told that we hadn't got through.
Yeah.
But on the show, all of the judges really said they loved us.
Yeah.
And the national press obviously caught on to it. We didn't go on with a message or an intention. I think that was the weird thing for us, and we didn't realise why we were getting all the attention, but they quite liked the story that I'd choreographed it, and it was my son that was in it and what would happen to us and stuff.
Wow.
Group did really well then.
Yeah.
Because we went from being on the told no, and we went back to our normal lives, and then we got a phone call saying you've been selected for the live show. In 24 hours you're going to be on live.
Oh my word. So you're like, quick, get practicing.
Yeah. So we threw something together, and then it just literally went crazy after that, because we had, obviously after being on there with Stella McCartney the next day booking us.
Really?
All the big clients were wanting to pay money for us to come and perform. Like, well, we only have one routine. Like, can you do a half-hour show? Like, no. We did like 5 steps.
Oh, right.
We were so inexperienced.
Wow. That's
But
amazing.
of course that brought up all of the stuff as well, because it wasn't until we were sat in the minibus and we had to go through all these release forms.
Yeah.
And one of my kids went, "Why are they asking if you got anything in your past that might..."
Okay.
I was like, "Because just..." And then literally, and I was jumped out the car and I was sick, and I thought, I hadn't even considered that. I got so caught up in everything, I hadn't even considered it. So I phoned the show and said, "We can't go any further, I don't want to be on the TV." I completely, I was worried about that happening, and they said it's too late, it's being aired this Saturday.
Right.
But which was good, I think, because I had to just deal with it. And
and you feel happy about that now?
Oh yeah,
You're in
totally.
a totally different place now.
Yeah, totally, because I know that he's moved on, I've moved on, and I don't want I never have, since moving to Cornwall, had any bad feeling. I've completely forgiven, and know that I think anyone that's going through that situation needs to understand, like with bullying or anything, that other person isn't, you're all born the same, you all have the same makeup, but I think it's how you're brought up and the experiences that make you who you are. So I think I learned to really appreciate that he obviously was going through something or
struggling himself.
Yeah, so I genuinely hope he's really happy now and like moving on like I am.
Yeah.
If you could see someone, a 17-year-old girl, woman, in the situation that you were in, being where you are now, what advice would you give to them?
I would 100% say you need to look at where you want to be and who you are. Because I think the minute you start doubting yourself and your confidence in yourself and your worth, your self-worth, you're never going to want to get out of it, because there's no point, if you know what I mean. You have to think about what you want out of your life and understand that is never going to happen while you're in that relationship, and it will get worse. Because of all the people that I've met doing this now, I've done quite a lot of stuff with charities and things, everyone, it always starts somewhere, and you have to read that sign, that switch you have when it happens that first time. You have to trust your female instincts and male instinct, your human instinct, and get help and trust that. The trouble is, all different relationships are different, and what's common is they say, "Oh, if you tell anyone, we'll harm your family," or if you tell anyone, I'm not saying that happened to me, but a lot of people, they'll say they'll hurt you or they'll hurt someone else, but you're going to get hurt anyway, so you have to try, and it's difficult, it's a very difficult thing to say, because
going to the police for me wouldn't have worked for me.
No. Yeah.
That was just my situation, because I wasn't strong enough to go through all the court things and all of the procedures, and would I be protected enough while that was happening, and that wasn't the right choice for me. But I found someone who I didn't know in the street. I ran to a stranger's house and sought help that way through Women's Aid, because I didn't want the police involved, which I would kind of regret now. But at the beginning, you must speak to someone.
Yeah.
You have to find your motivation to have self-belief and find someone to help you.
So you talk about Women's Aid, that's the charity you've
Yeah.
kind of chosen. So what do they do, or do you want to share a little bit about...
Well, for me, they were absolutely amazing, because I left with literally what I was wearing, and the baby had just one of the snapper baby grows on, no milk, nothing, just not even a blanket.
Yeah.
So they gave me everything. They put me in a home and fed, calmed me down, looked after me, gave us clothes, gave us bottles, and put us on a train. So they were amazing. They were our lifeline.
Yeah.
And then at the other end, we did the same.
Yeah.
They were great.
Excellent. And so, where are you now? What does your life look like now?
It's just a dream.
Right.
And this is why I urge people. I never would have dreamt in 1,000 years I'd be doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
If anyone had told me, I would have laughed. Not in a zillion years.
Yeah.
Because I've got an amazing husband. I've been married 14 years. Kyle, my son's now going into the police.
Okay.
Which is motivated by stuff that, the situations we found ourselves in, that's motivated him. He's a professional dancer. He's done, amazing work, but he's a policeman now. He passes out next weekend.
Brilliant. Oh, wow.
And our dance company takes us all over the world. I got told by a fortune teller with my friends when I was about 17 I'll be going somewhere abroad. I was like, I'm never ever going to be able to leave this country. I never believed that, and now I've been to like 15 different countries performing and choreographing, and I've had lunch with the Queen.
Yeah. Check you out.
You've made it.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
there.
amazing.
Beat that.
It's just amazing. Stuff I never would have dreamt of.
Yeah.
But it's stuff, it's not been easy. It's stuff I've had to create, and my energy, instead of feeling sorry for myself, I put it into my business and put it into my new relationship. And
Brilliant.
you do waste a lot of time feeling sorry for yourself, and I think that's the problem. You lose so much self-esteem, you beat yourself up so much, you blame yourself, and it's getting out of that. And I don't know how I did that, but it just happened.
Okay.
Some people aren't fortunate as that, but
Wonderful. So with the sort of dance company, you're doing shows and things regularly and travelling around, and obviously I know you've got some of the sort of statements that you put to your young people that you teach dance to and that as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of work. We do we've got a professional agency now, so we do a lot of professional work. But we do a lot of work with anti-bullying and anti-knife crime and anti-social behaviour work. So we do that all over the country with the police.
Yeah.
So we did a 3-year tour with the Metropolitan Police in London, working with damaged children that were turning into gangs and crimes and things like that. So I designed that. But I don't know. I just think with my kids at my school, it's hard because they don't really know my background. But I'm
okay.
But do you think there's an element of that kind of with the performing arts, being able to take on a persona and a character, and therefore you can inspire them and you get something from them that relate, because the art, everybody can succeed.
Yeah.
Because in art and drama and music, everybody can have a go. And
100%.
So you have that medium where you can make them feel that they can achieve anything, which is what you've done.
Yeah, because you can.
Absolutely.
You can. It's what I keep. It's really hard because I get really frustrated sometimes. When kids, not just kids but young adults, say to me, "Oh, I can't do that." You can do it. It's your choice. You have to make a choice. You either can or you can't. It's making that choice. That's the important thing.
Brilliant.
And I think a lot of the children in my school, I know some of them don't know my background, think I'm too hard on them or I push them too much. But it's I just want to see them achieving, because I know they realise what's out there and what can be done. You're within your power when you're born to do what you want with your life, and so I think I realised when I was at a certain age.
And the opportunity for a fresh slate.
Completely. You can rewrite your story at any time in your life, absolutely any time in your life. And I've got, I've just written a story production called Spinderella, which is I've based it around the Cinderella story, but kind of an autobiographical thing on my life. And that's been really successful. That's going on tour this year.
Right. Wow.
Across the country. That really sends a strong message, so we hope to take that into schools and colleges as well. About the Cinderella story. You have a chance to change your future.
But yeah, I've tried to use it in a positive way and bring kids through the school that are going to be good people in the community. Because our dance school isn't just about producing good dancers, it's about producing good adults, and a lot of our kids don't actually go on to be professional, but they're running successful businesses. And
brilliant. It's giving them the confidence in themselves.
And dance is a perfect outlet for that.
Great.
Yeah.
If you could say, you could say one thing, like kind of encapsulate it in one sentence to someone that's suffering or in that position, what would you say to them? If you had that one moment with them, sort of, they tell you all that and you've been there, what would you say?
I think, firstly, don't underestimate yourself, because you are, anything is possible. Redefining the impossible is kind of my slogan.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That sums it up.
Nice. That was lovely. There you go. That was wonderful. Thank you.